I'm a bartender in Melbourne. And last month, this American woman sat down, ordered a flat white, talked to me for exactly 7 minutes about her CrossFit routine and her rescue dog's Instagram account. Then said we should totally hang out sometime. She never came back. My Australian regulars watched this happen, and one of them just shook his head and said, "Classic." The thing is, she genuinely meant it when she said it. Americans have this superpower where they can be the warmest, most enthusiastic person you've ever met and simultaneously have zero intention of ever seeing you again. It's not malicious. It's just how they operate, and when you're from literally anywhere else, it feels like being constantly invited to a party that doesn't exist. My cousin moved to Portland 3 years ago. He's from Lagos, spent his whole life making friends the normal way slowly, over years, through shared struggles and boring Tuesdays. Within his first week in America, he'd been invited to 4 barbecues, 3 hiking trips, and someone's Friendsgiving. He showed up to exactly none of these events because he thought they were just being polite. Turns out they were all real invitations. He also received 12 "we should get coffee" offers that were absolutely not real invitations. He still can't tell the difference. Then there's my German colleague who got a birthday card from her American coworker signed, "Love you." After working together for 3 weeks, she spent 2 hours analyzing whether this was a romantic confession or a cultural misunderstanding. It was neither. It was just Janet from accounting being American. The weirdest part? Americans think everyone else is cold and unfriendly. They go to France and complain that Parisians won't smile at strangers. They visit Finland and decide Finns are antisocial because they don't chat in elevators. Meanwhile, the rest of us are standing there thinking, "You told me your entire medical history at a bus stop, and now you're pretending you don't know me at the grocery store?" I work at a university library in Manchester, and we get a lot of American exchange students. Last semester, one of them met a British classmate at orientation, had a 15-minute conversation about Lord of the Rings, and immediately said, "Oh my God, we're going to be best friends." The British guy came to my desk, genuinely distressed, asking if he'd accidentally entered into some kind of binding social contract. I had to explain that no, she was just being American, and he was not now legally required to be her emergency contact. He saw her exactly twice more that entire semester, both times in the cafeteria. Both times she waved enthusiastically and said, "We need to catch up soon." They never caught up. He graduated still confused about what went wrong. My brother manages a cafe in Tokyo, and he's watched this exact scene play out dozens of times. An American tourist comes in, orders something complicated, chats with him about the weather and his tattoo and where to find good ramen, then says, "You're so cool, man. What's your Instagram?" They follow each other. They exchange exactly 0 messages ever. The American has 847 followers and follows 1,200 people. My brother has come to understand this is just how they collect humans, like Pokemon cards, except they never actually play with any of them. I'm a software engineer in Bangalore, and my American team lead does this thing where he ends every video call with "Great talking to you." We should definitely grab a beer next time I'm in India. He has said this approximately 40 times. He has been to India for work twice. We have never grabbed a beer. I've stopped taking it personally. My Indian colleagues and I have a running joke where we rate his sign-off enthusiasm from 1 to 10. Last week he hit an 11. He said we should absolutely do a pub crawl, maybe catch a cricket match, really experience the culture together. We all laughed for 5 minutes after he hung up. He's a nice guy. He's also never going to do any of those things, and somehow that doesn't make him a liar in his own mind. My wife is from São Paulo. She nearly had a breakdown her first year in California. A neighbor invited her to a pool party. She spent 3 days planning what to bring, bought a new swimsuit, practiced her English small talk. She showed up and the neighbor said, "Oh my God, I totally forgot I invited people. This is so crazy." The party still happened. It was fine. But my wife realized the invitation had been essentially decorative, saying "bless you" after a sneeze, socially required but empty of content. She stopped accepting invitations unless they came with a specific time, written confirmation, and at least one follow-up text. Even then, she shows up prepared for it to be fictional. I'm a taxi driver in Dublin, and I picked up this American couple who'd been living here for 6 months. The wife was nearly in tears, telling me they'd been to dozens of dinners and game nights, but still felt completely alone. She said everyone was nice, but no one actually knew them. Her husband kept saying, "It's so weird, people here are polite, but it's like there's a wall." I didn't have the heart to tell them that in Ireland. You don't become actual friends with someone until you've seen them at their worst drunk, crying, or preferably both, and that takes years, not months. Americans want to skip to intimacy immediately. They'll tell you about their divorce at brunch, but won't help you move furniture. My sister works at a hospital in Copenhagen, and she's got this American colleague who overshares relentlessly. Within their first conversation, my sister knew about her endometriosis, her parents' messy divorce, her fear of birds, and her therapist's name. My sister, who has known her best friend since they were 7 and still hasn't told her about half her childhood traumas, found this deeply alarming. The American kept saying, "I feel like we really connected." My sister felt like she'd been emotionally mugged. 6 months later, there's still coworkers who say hello in the hallway. The American has moved on to oversharing with someone else. She probably thinks, "My sister is cold. I'm a teacher in Seoul, and one of my colleagues is American." She's been here for years and complains constantly that Koreans are hard to get close to. Meanwhile, she's had 7 different Korean best friends in that time, all of whom she met once for coffee and then never saw again outside of work. She doesn't understand that friendship here is built through sustained, consistent presence, showing up, staying quiet, existing in the same space without needing constant validation. She thinks friendship is enthusiasm and compliments and saying "I love you" after 3 meetings. When things don't go deeper, she blames Korean culture for being closed off. It hasn't occurred to her that maybe she's the one who never goes deeper, that all her friendships are wide and shallow as a puddle. My uncle runs a gym in Buenos Aires, and he's got this American member who keeps trying to organize group hangouts outside the gym. He made a WhatsApp group, planned a barbecue, got excited about building community. 3 people showed up. He was devastated. What he doesn't understand is that in Argentina, you can't artificially create intimacy through scheduled events. You become friends by existing in each other's lives naturally, slowly, through 1,000 small interactions over years. You don't speedrun friendship. But Americans are used to moving every few years for work, for school, for opportunity. So they've developed this fast food version of connection: quick, convenient, and ultimately unsatisfying to everyone involved. I worked the ticket counter at a train station in Amsterdam. I watched an American woman ask another American for directions. The second woman had absolutely no idea where anything was. She was clearly a tourist herself, but she still tried to help. Gave detailed but completely wrong instructions, and ended with "Good luck, you've got this." The first woman thanked her profusely and walked confidently in the wrong direction. A Dutch guy next to me said, "Why didn't she just say she doesn't know?" I explained that Americans would rather be confidently incorrect than admit ignorance, because admitting you can't help feels rude to them. He looked genuinely disturbed by this. Like I'd explained an alien species mating ritual, my son is studying in Edinburgh. He's Indian, raised to be direct and honest. His American roommate keeps asking him, "How are you?" and getting upset that he actually answers. Last week he said, "I'm exhausted. I failed my exam. My girlfriend broke up with me." And his roommate looked horrified and said, "Oh, that's tough, man," and walked away quickly. He came to me confused. I had to explain that "How are you?" is not actually a question in America. It's a greeting. The correct answer is always "Good, how are you?" regardless of whether you're good or actively on fire. He tried this the next time. His roommate brightened immediately and said, "Good, have a great day." And everyone was happy. My son now understands he's living in a linguistic minefield, where words don't mean what they mean. I'm a tour guide in Prague, and I've learned to spot Americans instantly because they apologize for everything while meaning none of it. "Sorry, could I ask you a question?" "Sorry, is this seat taken?" "Sorry, do you have the time?" They're not sorry. They're not inconveniencing anyone. But they've been trained that every interaction requires a preemptive apology as social lubricant. Meanwhile, they'll also say "no problem" when you thank them which implies that your gratitude assumed there might be a problem, which is its own kind of passive-aggressive. The linguistic gymnastics required to talk to Americans is exhausting. Everything is cushioned and softened and stripped of actual meaning. My cousin runs a bookshop in Vienna, and she hired an American employee who keeps leaving negative Yelp reviews for local restaurants but phrasing them as compliments. The service was so authentic and European, they didn't check on us even once. Really felt like they trusted us to eat without help. She thinks this is a positive review. The restaurant owners think she's mocking them. She genuinely doesn't understand that when she says interesting choice or bold flavor or definitely unique, everyone knows she means it's bad. Americans have developed this entire shadow language, where insults are dressed as compliments, and compliments are inflated to meaninglessness. She told my cousin, "You're literally the best boss I've ever had." After 2 weeks, my cousin, who is Austrian and understands that superlatives should be used sparingly and only when true, nearly fired her on the spot for insincerity. I'm back at my bar in Melbourne, and that same American woman just walked in. She recognized me immediately, lit up like a Christmas tree, and said, "Oh my God, hi. How have you been? I've been meaning to come back." She ordered the same flat white, talked about her dog's new TikTok account, and said we really should hang out. I'll text you. She will not text me. She doesn't have my number. She never asked for my number. And somehow, in her mind, this entire interaction was warm and genuine and meaningful. That's the thing about American friendliness. It's real in the moment and completely disposable afterward. They're not lying when they say they want to be your friend. They're just operating in a culture where friendship means something completely different, where intimacy is performed rather than built, where connection is a feeling you have during a conversation rather than a relationship you maintain over time, and the rest of us are left standing there, holding these empty invitations, wondering why the friendliest people on earth are so impossible to actually befriend.